everyone, my name's Sarah and this is my channel, So Sarah Sewed. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing everything I made in the month of March. It's been quite a while since I've had a chance to film one of these videos. It was a very busy March for me, but I'm finally having the chance to film because it's now the 10th of April and I'm on school holidays. So I will have a little bit more time to be creative and hopefully film a couple of videos this holidays. Before I get onto my March makes though, I will just quickly tell you what I'm wearing today. It remains very warm in Melbourne. It's been a really warm weekend this weekend and it's going to be about 26 or 27 degrees today. Apart from making this video today, I've just got a lot of chores to do around the home, so I'm just wearing a casual t-shirt. This is the Stellan tee by French Navy and I've made it in a very light jersey from Dupes Designs, and I'm wearing it with some Miller trousers by Paper Theory, so I'll stand up and show you. I have made a couple of Stellan tees in Dupes Designs fabrics, and I've also made a couple of pairs of Miller trousers in just lightweight linen cotton, and I find I mix and match these two items in my wardrobe constantly on weekends and during the summer months. So very, very handy items. So now on to what I made in March. I actually found this month to be a bit of a month of looking through my remnants and looking through my stash and using a lot of things from that. I think I was inspired by the Sew Frugal Challenge hosted by Ruan of the Yorkshire Sew Girl and Sam from Frugalissima, and I just looked through a lot of the things I had. So I didn't end up making a whole lot of things for that challenge, but it did encourage me to look through my stash and think about the sorts of things I could make with my stash materials and also some remnants. So the first thing I made was a smock dress. This is the smock dress by Nerida Hansen. It's one of the very first patterns I bought when I started sewing, and I bought the paper version of this pattern. Now, when I looked at my measurements, I was around between the size 12 to 14 kind of measurements, and when I first made this dress, I did make a size 12, but I found it a little bit too oversized. It is supposed to be an oversized smock, but I prefer a little bit more fitted, and I also preferred the waist to be higher. So with my version of the Nerida Hansen smock dress, I decided to make the smallest size available, which is a size 8. This pattern is available from sizes 8 to 20 in either PDF or printed versions. And that spans a bust of 85 to 115 centimeters and a hip measurement of 94 to 124 centimeters. Now my bust measurement puts me more into a 12 to 14 measurement on this pattern. So making the size 8, it means that that's probably the area that has the least amount of ease, but I just prefer the look of the fit being a little bit more fitted. So I'll show you. The fabric I used for this is an absolutely beautiful design by Field Day Studios, and it's in a heavyweight linen cotton from Nerida Hansen. I made another smock dress from a heavy linen cotton from Nerida Hansen a couple of years ago, and I absolutely love the feeling of the weight of it, and it gets a lot of wear during the sort of warmer weather, because it's a pink and white kind of dress. So it's not something that I feel like I can layer up very easily. So I thought this fabric that I had in my stash with this darker background would work really nicely with tights and being laid a little bit more. So I can wear it without any layers and without tights very comfortably, but then it'll get a lot of wear all through the year, I think. I love this, this fabric. I found one of the tags from the Kylie and the Machine advent calendar to put inside. I thought the colour matched absolutely perfectly, so I really am happy with the way that looks in there as well. So this pattern is pretty easy. There's no closures, so it's quite simple. The neckline is finished with a facing, and then the sleeves are gathered into a little cuff here. And then it's just a gathered skirt with pockets. So a really, really comfortable dress, and I really enjoy wearing this one. I had a lot of comments when I wore it to school recently. I had one student who, she actually ended up apologizing to me. She said, "I'm just so sorry, I cannot stop staring at your dress. It is so pretty." So that was a very nice comment from a Year 7 student. And yeah, lots of people have commented on how beautiful this fabric is. And I think it works really, really well with this smock dress pattern. The end of March got really busy for me because our school musical was on and I was conducting the show. And I knew that I'd be needing to wear black outfits for this role, and I didn't really have all that many to choose from, so I decided that I'd make a new Anthea blouse. The Anthea blouse is a pattern by Anna Allen, and I have made a few already. I absolutely love the shape of it. I have made, this is my 4th one that I've made. They get a lot of wear. I find they look really, really nice over pants, but also under pinafores. And with jeans, just really, really easy to wear, and I thought I could do with the black one. The pattern is available from sizes 00 to 22, which spans a 31-inch to a 48-inch bust. And there's lots of ease in this pattern. So I am making a size 10, which I've made in all of my other versions. I think my measurements put me probably around a 12 or potentially a 14. But I find there's plenty of ease by sizing down. I had some fabric in my stash that I'd bought last year from Darn Cheap Fabrics. It's a black cotton voile with these little spots, little raised dots on it. I had thought I was going to make the short sleeve version for this Anthea blouse, but I ended up making the long sleeve version. There's actually not a whole lot of difference between the 2 different sleeve lengths. I find the short sleeve length that I have made before comes just above the elbow, whereas the long one just goes just below the elbow. So not a huge amount of difference, and it's just about where you think you want your sleeve to hit. So this one I've made just below. This really did get a lot of wear at the end of March. I wore it, so we had 3 performances of our musical, and I wore it on the first and last nights, plus at quite a few of the rehearsals. So I will put some pictures in now of me wearing it. So this pattern is quite a simple bodice. There's no darts, and then it's got these beautiful voluminous sleeves that really do make the pattern, I think. It's got a front button placket all the way down, and the neckline is finished with bias binding. This fabric is quite delicate, so I decided to French seam all of the seams apart from where I attached the arms. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out. I love the sheerness of this fabric and how light it is, so perfect for when I'm conducting. And I know I'll be able to get a lot of wear out of this in concerts going forward as well. I was lucky enough to have some buttons given to me recently, so that's what I used for these. They don't all match completely, but they're of a similar enough size and design that I think they work really nicely with this blouse. My friend's mum is moving out of the family home and into assisted living and getting rid of all of her sewing bits and bobs. So I was able to look through and find these buttons at the perfect time for this blouse. So she was really, really happy to see a picture of me wearing it and that her buttons had gone to a good home. One of the other things that I really love about this blouse is the way that the hemline dips. So it comes up on the side, and then it's hard to see, but hopefully you can see better in the photos that I have inserted. My next make was my entry into the So Frugal 22 challenge. So this challenge required me to use a free pattern and a material from my stash to create a garment. So I had been intending to make the Peppermint pocket skirt for quite some time. I already had the pattern all printed and ready to go. And I thought this was a great opportunity to make that. So I had a big leftover piece of fabric from when I made a Gilbert top last year. So last year I made the Gilbert top out of a striped linen, and I'll put a picture here of that top. And I had a really, really large piece left over that I knew would fit the pocket skirt, and it did. And I absolutely loved making this skirt. It was so easy and came together so quickly, and it has a really, really nice impact at the end. It's going to be a bit crinkled, sorry about that. So the skirt has these beautiful panels with these pockets the pockets are designed to be a little bit baggy. The piece is bigger than the actual the side piece that it's attached to. So it's got quite a distinctive look. Sorry, it's a bit crumpled up there. Probably easier to see on that side, and definitely easier to see if I actually just insert some photos and video of me wearing it. And then the waistband has a really nice thick piece of elastic through it. So a really simple skirt to make. There's nothing, no zips or buttons or anything like that to worry about. So a great beginner pattern that I would highly recommend. And I think that I'll end up probably making one of these in just a darker fabric at some point that will go really nicely with a lot of my tops. Because this isn't the easiest thing to style. Probably, I make so many things with prints and things like that. So it will get a lot of wear probably with, I've got a plain brown Ashton top that I'm wearing in some of the photos, and also a white cielo top that I'll be able to wear with it. I had been hoping that it would work really well with my Gilbert top, and they do, you know, the two pieces kind of work well together, but they're just the coloring of the fabric. I think I need something to break it up. It's just too similar to my skin tone, I think, to wear that much sort of pinky yellow kind of colors at the same time. So I'm not sure that I will wear them together, but I will continue to wear both pieces separately. I think that one I made in a size 14. I forgot to mention that this pattern, it's from Peppermint magazine, but the designer of this was Paper Theory. So a really great pattern, simple instructions, quick construction, and I think looks really good. My next make wasn't in my plans for March, but as I was saying before, I was inspired to look at all of my remnants and see if there were things I could make with them. So this is a remnant I had from 2 items of clothing I made at the end of last year. I made my niece and my sister matching jumpers for Christmas, and I had a piece large enough left over to try and make myself a top as well. So I recently made a Chive Sweatshirt by Cara Mia Patterns, and I made View B in this one last time. This sweatshirt is quite interesting because it's got puffed sleeves, but the sleeves only come down to around the elbow mark, and there are 2 views. So the first one is a more relaxed fit, and the hemline sort of finishes around the hips, and View A, it's much more tapered in, and then it cuts off around the waist. So I thought I'd give that one a go this time. I really like my View B version that I made, and I thought, well, let's see if I like the cropped version as well. And I really do. So this is another fabric by Field Day Studios. This time it's in a French terry from Nerida Hansen, and the whole thing is just made in that. So when I made my sister and my niece their jumpers, they had some ribbing around the neck and the cuffs and the hemband, but this one is just used, I've used entirely just the French terry fabric. So you can see that on the sleeve and at the hem, there's quite large, a cuff and a large band at the bottom, and a simple neckband. I don't have an overlocker, as some of you will know, but I just use I make the whole thing on a zigzag stitch. It's not the neatest finish on the inside, but it works, and no one can see the inside, so I don't really mind. I wore this to work the other day with some just high-waisted black wide leg pants, and I had a lot of comments about how beautiful it was, so I was happy with that. So not only was it looking good, it's so comfortable because it's one of those things you can get away with wearing to work. You feel like you're wearing just a sweatshirt or a jumper, but because of the little puffed sleeves and the pretty fabric, it sort of elevates it. So I really, really like this pattern. Another interesting thing about this pattern and the way it's sold is that there are 3 price points. So there's kind of a standard price that you can pay, or there's a cheaper price, or if you would like to pay a little extra, you can as well. So the designer has tried to keep people's budgets in mind when she set the prices. This pattern is available from sizes 0 to 34, which covers a bust size of 33 to 62 inches and waist of 25 to 55 inches. My measurements put me somewhere between the 8 to 10 and the 12 to 14, but the pattern suggests that if you're somewhere in between, that you should size down because it runs a little bit large, and that seemed to work perfectly for me. That's all the garments I made in March, but I also continued with some hand sewing of my Journey Home quilt. This is a pattern by Blooming Poppies, and I am hand stitching this one, as I mentioned. And at the start of the month, I had 5 blocks done, and this month I did manage my goal, which was to complete 1 more block. So I'm now up to 6 blocks, as you can see in this picture here, and 3 to go. So 2 of them are I've made a start on, so I should get another one made up in April. And the last one I still have to cut out the pieces for, because if you've watched any previous videos, you might know that I have completely lost the last piece that I'd already cut. But I do have enough fabric that I can squeeze out those last pieces. So maybe this holidays, I do have the next 2 weeks off, so maybe this holidays I will find the time to do that. I've had a couple of questions about where I got the fabric that's got the sweet little people in it. They're all by Sarah Jane Studios, and they're a line called We Wander, but I was given them as a present many years ago from one of my sisters, and I don't know where she bought them from, so they might be hard to track down, but Etsy or just looking on online and searching for We Wander might yield some results if you are looking for those particular fabrics. They're very, very sweet. I'm trying to put my little people, when I finish the design, I'm trying to put my people so that they're kind of looking at each other, so that the girl who's looking up will be looking at the boy who's looking down and that kind of thing. So I'll be looking at the placement for that when I finished all 9 blocks. And I also started knitting again this month. So I'm expecting the weather to cool down a little bit soon. It's taking its time, but I wanted to start knitting in the hopes that I'll have something new to wear by the middle of winter. So this is a pattern that I have been eyeing off since I started knitting around a year ago, and it is the Sunday Sweater by Petite Knit Patterns. I have made several Petite Knit patterns over the last year, and I'm kind of sticking with them, I guess, because I know that they work for me. I understand the patterns. They have some great videos that go with the instructions, and I just really, really love this pattern. So I cast on. I knew that I'd have quite a bit of time in the theatre during the tech rehearsals for our musical, when they're fixing lighting cues or fixing where people are standing in their dances and things like that. And I was able to just pick up my project and knit when that happened. So that was a really, really useful thing to have with me. I'll show you where I'm up to so far. This pattern is knit on quite large needles. There's 7mm needles that I'm using at the moment, so it comes together quite fast. I've knit the neckband, and then I've started on the yoke. And I've just got a couple more centimeters to go before I then will be separating the sleeves from the rest of the body, and then it's just basically knitting all the way down to the hem. So that will be a really fast section once I finish this ribbing section. The wool I've used I'm absolutely loving. It's from a company called Kit Couture, who are in Denmark. And you can see it's got these little speckles of different colours all the way through, which I love. They had quite a few colours to choose from. I'll show you. So this is knit with 2 strands of wool, and the first one I've chosen is called Blouse by Kit Couture. It's a mixture of baby alpaca, fine merino wool, polyamide, and viscose. But what really drew me to it was all these different colours going through it. I think the colour I chose was called something like beige. I can't remember. I bought it in September last year, but I only just got around to starting knitting with it. And that's held with a strand of silk mohair at the same time. So that's going well, and I'm enjoying that. So that sums up everything I made in the month of March. I was very, very busy at the start of the month doing a lot of sewing, and then busy with knitting at the end of the month. So I've enjoyed being creative this month, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've made. Thank you so much for watching me today. If you've liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment with your favorite make if you'd like to, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.